Hey everybody, so I wanted to make this video about SoFi, right? It's pretty important because um, people get so caught up with the news headlines or whatever, creating FUD in SoFi, but a lot of people just don't understand how the stock moves, right? And I was optimistic that we wouldn't be back into this pattern that I've identified before, but here we are. We're back in a pattern from what I'm seeing with SoFi, okay? So let me give you a little history lesson. When before I was doing the YouTube thing and before I was doing Instagram, I was on Twitter talking about SoFi, and for those that know, you know. But ultimately, I identified. Let me see if I can get a cursor here. I identified this drop right here before it happened. This drop before it happened. This drop before it happened, and this drop before it happened. There's plenty of people. I have receipts, so I'm not making anything up. But essentially, you start to identify patterns when you look at a stock long enough. And um, I've been following SoFi since its peak. Okay, so for a long time. So once we made this horrific fall all the way down to $4, we had earnings here. Again, another triple beat. But as you can see, this stock spiked and then it fell back down. Ultimately, though, it broke trend for a little bit. All right, then you got to a point where it hit rock bottom right here around $4.50 roughly. It's less than that, but anyway, then you just see this absolute rocket from here, right? Huge move, a retracement, and then another move right here. So what I want you to pay attention to, and I'm sorry for the chicken scratch. I understand it, and I'm going to try to walk through it. But essentially, um, in a nutshell, when SoFi rallies, it rallies in a about a 70-degree angle, right? Green lines are 70 to 73-degree angles here, here, here. Okay, so it never fails. Every rally for SoFi is a little over 70 degrees. That's how you're gonna know if we're bullish or not on SoFi. Okay, um, every pullback, uh, we or you might think it's a flushing of the stock, but it's essentially short sellers suppressing the stock, and that's just we can't escape that. Short interest last I checked was 17%. Who knows what it is right now? I have to look it up. I think the new data is out, but I'll get that to you. If somebody knows, just leave it in the comments. It'll be very helpful. So anyway, when we fall, though, every time we fall, those are indicated by the white lines here. Okay, we fall in about a 40% angle. Okay, every time, never fails, all the way back from when we hit rock bottom or after our initial flush. So about 40 degrees from the top to the bottom is about how SoFi drops. That drop lasts for about 250 to 260 bars, typically. Okay, so that's important to know because that allows us to know how to kind of predict how SoFi is going to be. Okay, so if we fast forward to where we are now, um, so we had this spike right here, another 70-degree pop. Then we had a little bit of a tank. It dropped, retraced, dropped. So that's about a 48-degree angle, roughly, or at least we're headed there. I'm predicting the future right now. So here's the thing: earnings is until I think April 29th, right? This is not the earnings bar. I'll explain in a little bit, but earnings is until about April 29th. With the patterns from the past in this angle and this the size of the bar, so around 250 bars falling, 260, 329, 253. So I guess on average, this could be a little far down, but just bear with me, okay? That's the same length of this bar, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, we're either SoFi right now is either going to fall and bounce at 685. Right now we're at $7. All right. So hear me out. 685 is one of our resistance. It might come through and then just reverse off of that. The next level is 638, which I really, really hope we don't break through this. I really hope that we just stop here and then we start to trail up in that 40-degree angle, okay, back into our breakout zone ahead of earnings, okay? But if we break through that floor, right, then we're headed to 565, which would be horrible, right? And based on my projections, if we do that, we are projected to hit that point April 1st, 2024. Okay, and that's by close. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But as of right now, I am a realist when it comes to SoFi. I've been looking at the stock for too long. I'm very, very bullish. I am very optimistic about the company. But when things are looking funny in the light, I have to blow the horn, because I'm not the guy that's just gonna be feeding everybody roses and rainbows and saying that everything is fine with SoFi, because it's not. It never is, because of how much the stock is manipulated. Okay, so I have to keep it real. I have to keep it raw. Right, so that's where we are. If we fall to that level, right around the 565 area, this yellow line that I have here is the 70-degree angle that the 70-degree angle that I project for us to start going on a tear of. So with that angle, this distance right here is 74 bars. And these bars range, the green bars range anywhere between 65 and 80 bars. Okay, so 74 bars is right in line. Essentially, we had a good supply zone here, so that's why I have it pretty much stopping at that point, because that's where we're going to see some resistance. And then that is also where we're going to test and see if we break this this trend, break the pattern. Okay, so that is April 20. Oh wow, never mind, that is April 29th. So there you go. Come earnings, I'm predicting before earnings that SoFi is either going to trade sideways or just come falling down a little bit more, and then bounce towards the earnings. I think that's the only thing that we can really see right now until we get more information. With the information coming out about tax rates and the government or the Fed likely not to lower tax in the coming months, or put a pause on that stuff. It's just not looking good for banks ultimately, with their student loans and just loans that they're holding in general. So anyway, that's where I see us right now. It is not fun to see. Essentially, if SoFi breaks $7, then depending on my position for options, my long-term options, I'm likely just going to DCA into those. Okay, I'm talking those options that are 2025 or 2026. And then my short-term options, that's a little different. Like, so if I have an option that's going to expire in April or June, it's a little harder to DCA into that, because by breaking under $7, it's just telling me that my theory is likely correct. So not going to risk that. I'm probably just going to cut my losses on that and then look for re-entry on a good bounce. Okay, so and yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. The only other thing I can add is before I put us in this symmetrical triangle after we had that bullish move up, right? So we did that. We tested the top 1, 2, 3 points. We had a false breakout, and here we are, and we broke under it. Now, I believe, just like, let's measure this while we're here, because I believe. So from here to here, what's that? That's 70. Well, not the bars. I'm looking at the the difference. So it's negative 3.8%. Okay. So that's the size difference. So let's check that out where we are right now after breaking out under this. Probably a lot more. That's not what I want. My apologies. Yeah. So yeah, that means nothing. All right. So essentially, we have broken out of that trend, and essentially we're looking bearish for the time being. And if those levels break 685, so $7 where we are right now, 685 to 638, then look out below for 565. That'll be very scary, but it is what it is. I'm just gonna load the boat on SoFi because nothing's changed fundamentally in the company. They have beat earnings consecutively, quarter after quarter. They don't miss, right? And then now they just had their first report of profitability in January, which is absolutely insane, right? So if we turn around and come April 29th and we have back-to-back profitable months, which I assume that we will, then at some point it's going to be hard for the shorts to keep the stock down. At some point, the fundamentals are going to outweigh that, and they're going to be forced to cover. Absolutely. I think that SoFi is getting ready for a crazy short squeeze, like no joke. I think with over 3 days to expire, 3 days to pay on those shorts, 3 days to cover. That's the word I'm looking for. With over 3 days to cover, and the short interest that high, that's a recipe. Plus a company being profitable, they're gonna make a move as aggressive as Palantir did, if not more, in my opinion. So I say get ready. I think this is the year that we absolutely pop and we climb all the way back up to 1421 and then up to 1804 is what I'm thinking, that where we'll like float around. So anyway, I'm dollar cost averaging into SoFi. That's all I have for you. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe. It helps the channel. And yeah, that's it. This is Stocks for Real. Take care.